Hello, everyone. I just want to welcome anybody who is on right now to the Elevation Podcast. I'm working on getting the podcast shared with all who are willing to join it. And once we get some people in here, we'll all who are willing to join it. And once we get some people in here, we'll excuse me, sorry for that echo. Okay, so what's up, everybody? I hope you are all doing good tonight. I certainly am. I'm looking forward to a good podcast. Let me get my voice out of my ear. Anyways, I hope everybody is doing well. If you see me looking at my phone, I am trying to share the podcast to like Facebook. I'm probably going to post it on TikTok. Just getting it out there. Trying to get it out there. So if you guys will excuse me for like 2 or so minutes while I get this shared out to everybody. I would really greatly appreciate that. Also, I'm very sorry about this chair. It sucks. Wow. So my stream thing is just being stupid. There we go. Yeah, okay, we're good. Everything's fine. Just my chat is not working. Which, that's fine. Every time I type in the Elevation Podcast, my phone recommends the Elevator Podcast, which is stupid. All right. All right. So, everybody who's watching right now, feel free to like chat. Let me know what's going on, because I need to be able to see the chat. So, let me get MuseScore opened up and we'll get started here. So like I said, I have a few projects that I want to work on. If you watched the stream yesterday, which you probably did not, and I wouldn't expect any of you to because it was like at 2 in the morning, I talked about some pretty cool stuff. So, welcome to the main scene for the Elevation podcast. Most of this will be done on MuseScore. If I have a guest, we're going to go back to this scene. If I have a guest, they're probably just, I'm going to shrink my camera maybe to like here, and they're going to be here, or I'll put the logo like here or bigger, and they can go here or whatever. But when I'm by myself, this is what the podcast will look like. And if I'm talking and I'm not showing you anything on here, this is what the podcast will look like. But most of the podcast will be in this scene right here. So what I'm gonna do with the podcast is I'm gonna start it, and we're gonna go through a whole session of Q&A. So I will be taking questions from the chat, and we will honestly just pick up from there. I'll answer a few questions, and then we'll get going on whatever project I have to work on. If I don't have to work on anything, we're just gonna chill and thug it out. But I have some stuff to do for fun, and if I don't have anything to do for fun, I'll find something to do because mainly that's what I'm trying to get done. Excuse me, I am yawning. I cannot stop yawning. I'm just why do I yawn on live all the time? I don't know. But again, welcome to the Elevation podcast. I'm excited to have you here. I am Wyatt, and I run wyXttBeats, and again, I'm excited to have you here. We can shrink this just a little bit. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. That's me. I was looking at myself. Let's go back into Dreamscape because that's what we had going on yesterday. And if you do remember, the part that I wrote yesterday, I wrote this. Let's take a rewind. Here's what I wrote yesterday. I just added those 4-lit rolls today for a placeholder because I just didn't know what I wanted to do there, and I'm actually going to make a change here. I'm going to move the properties over there. So this is how I usually write, which it may be a little tame, but everything is a-okay. So welcome to Dreamscape, everybody. We're going to we'll take a listen to the full score, and if you see me looking back at Google, it's because I'm looking at the chat, and I don't want any of your chats to be missed. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning, and we'll just pick up from there. And if you will notice, I actually turned up the horn line earlier today. anyways, we'll stop there for now. Here's what we do have to fill in. And then I'll just stop there. So, I did have a little change in just drums on the tenors. So I changed this from drum 4 to drum 2 because I figured that would be a better round. And I don't know why there's not a flam here. There should be. And I don't even think I'll end up using those 4-lit rolls. Which, that's okay. Some parts, sometimes I'm like, let me rewrite this. Like, y'all know how I do. We'll look at Google real quick. And nobody's in the chat. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine. I'm also going to check my battery because I just want to make sure I stop at 80%. Anyways. So, we're going to fill this in with triplets only because that's what the drum set is playing. And each podcast episode, by the way, it will go as long as I like. If I feel like ending it early, then I will. But this week and next week's will probably go for a bit longer because I'm still on Christmas break, and I know y'all are still on Christmas break. So this week and next week's will probably go longer than normal. And yeah. But just for a second, let's pause and let's go to this scene. And I want to talk to you about why I started this podcast. I started this podcast because I want people to be, one, entertained by what I'm doing. I am... Okay. Sorry, I wanted to make a clip of that to put it on the wyXttBeats Instagram page, but let's do that again. So, and this is what happens when you're recording. Sometimes you mess up, and then voice flaws, and you got to go back into it. But, anyways, I started this podcast because I wanted people to be entertained with what I'm doing, first of all, and second of all, I want them to be able to elevate their group. AKA why the podcast is called the Elevation Podcast. It's because I want people to be able to elevate their group with my company. And I just want people to learn from me if they're new at writing, especially. I want people to learn from me and be able to like start writing themselves. Like I want people to be able to use MuseScore in the easiest way possible. One, and MuseScore has to be one of the easiest things to use. I've used Finale. I've used Sibelius maybe once, maybe. I don't remember. But I want people to learn to write music, first of all. And second of all, I want people to learn and not make the mistakes that I made as a first-time writer on MuseScore in 7th grade. Little 7th grade me, back in the day, used to play around on MuseScore. But I want people to be able to open their computer, go on MuseScore for the first time, and write some epic beats if they're trying to work in drumline world. But with that said, I started this podcast to be able to teach people how I write and how my writing is structured in a way that's different from like Paul Rennick, and it's in a way that it's different from Colin McNutt, in a way that it's different from Joe Hobbs, in a way it's different from I don't know anybody else, but not off the top of my head. But I just want to create a style of writing, if that makes sense, that's different from any marching percussion composer that is out there. I want a style similar to Paul Rennick, yes, but I want a style different from him, if that makes sense. Like, I want a style that you know when you hear it that it's my writing. Kind of similar to like when you hear Troopers, you know that's Paul Rennick. When you hear Boston, you know that's McNutt. Like when you hear Mystique this year, that's going to be McNutt. Like, for example, I want I want it to be when you hear a group play my beats, you can just go off the top of your head. You can be like, oh, they're playing wyXttBeats, right? So again, I started this podcast because I want people to be able to, one, recognize my beats, two, learn how to write their own, and three, in turn, that extends creativity in the marching arts for a long time. Like, I'm a new generation. I am 16. Woo. And I just want the next generation after me to be better than I was, better than I am, because I'm not the best. I know I'm not the best. Paul Rennick is. But besides that, I just want people to see what I'm made of and what I can do and what I will do with wyXttBeats. That's why I'm starting it so early on, and that's why I'm starting this podcast so early on, because I want to be able to have you a informational podcast where you don't just go watch and it's people talking. I want it to be where I'm literally showing you what I am doing so that you can physically learn from me, because I will go out on YouTube and I will search for people writing drumline music or people writing percussion music, marching percussion music on MuseScore or on Sibelius, even on Finale. Like, I'll go and search that up on YouTube and there won't be any videos. There won't be any videos of people just sitting there for a long period of time writing music, which I think those, like, just being able to watch one of those sessions, it has to be one of the craziest things ever, because you'll have this long period of silence. If you go watch my live stream from last night, you'll have this long period of silence where you're just sitting there and you're just focused in on what you're writing. And that's what I do a ton of the time. And I physically cannot have music going in the background like some composers can. They'll just have music, going on in the background and they'll be writing their stuff. But I can't do that because I don't know. But I just can't. Like, my mind can't handle it. But what I will tell you is I just want people to be able to learn from me. I want people to be able to be better than me. What a mouthful. And yeah, I just want this podcast to outreach to people and just be able to see those long writing sessions. That's why these live streams are going to be pretty long. They might be tops an hour, but I just want, or not tops maybe 2 hours, but I just want people to be able to see and look at those YouTube videos and just be like, oh, so this is how you put an accent in, or oh, this is how you put a right hand or a left hand or a shot or a ping shot or a gok shot. Like, this is how you do it, and this is how you get faster and better at it. I remember writing in 7th grade, I wrote this cadence, I'll show you in a minute. I wrote this cadence called Beautiful. It was not beautiful. You'll see that in a minute. No dynamic contrast, the worst sounds on the planet, like that kind of stuff. And like, not having good sounds is okay, but when you have better sounds for free that are out there, then that's a problem. If there is anybody starting to write marching percussion, I urge you to go to MuseScore 3, okay? I hope you're hearing me. MuseScore 3, not MuseScore 4. MuseScore 3, 3.6, and get the Muse drumline, MDL drumline, MDL, get that add-on, and those have the best sounds up until you get to the virtual drumline pack from MuseScore 4. And you can write your front ensemble in MuseScore 4 with the Muse percussion. That's fine. But I would recommend the MDL from 3.6, MuseScore 3.6. So anyways, let's show you that beautiful cadence that I was talking about. So we have to go into Google, and we have to go deep in my Google Drive to be able to find it. It shouldn't be that deep, actually. Yeah. If I go in my drive, it's in the B's, so let's look at the, here is the PDF to it. If you look at it, it's very uncomfortable to look at. No sticking, like, weird, like, really weird note links. There we go. Note links. Really weird note links, and very inconsistent as well. Like, if you see, let me zoom in. Like, what is this? I don't know what this is. Accents are below the line. There's basically, like, the accents are below the line here, and you have but, and that 16th note is not a 16th note in the next bar, so people can get confused when they come across that. And, like, there's just a ton of things in here that are not my personal preference to this day. And if you look at my writing now, it looks a whole lot better than it used to. But there's still some stuff that needs to be fixed, like that accent right there. But, like, I have sticking now. The accents are above the line. The snare drums are on the C staff. The stem directions are all pointing up. It's another thing. Yeah, the stem directions are all pointing up here, which is good. And, like, what is this? I don't know what this is. Don't you dare get out of formation until the song ends. That is, first of all, it's not a song. Do not call a marching percussion show a song. It's a selection of songs. Alright. Okay. Alright. I have a question. 2 questions. Okay. So let's answer these real quick. How do you write crossover on quads with it being an issue for marching percussion note heads? And 2, what do you use for an aux symbol that you always hear in high school shows? So for crossovers on quads, what I do... Okay, I don't know if you use MuseScore 4 or 3, but I can demonstrate both ways if you want me to. So, for example, let me write a quick, like, little quad thing. So if I want, like... wait, let me make sure I'm on the right... Okay, yeah. Okay. So if we have... And then... And let's say these are all doubles. Oops. And so obviously here we have crossovers. So I go into, what I do is I go into the properties tab, which is this this thing right over here, and I go to the note head parentheses, and I turn the parentheses on. So we come up with that, but also I go down here to show more, and then you can change the visual duration of the note head, and I change it to a half note, so that it is visible that you can see that those are crossovers, not only with just the half note, but also with the parentheses. Now, what some people do in this kind of writing is they'll usually, sometimes I see this, which I don't really like it, because when you're sight reading, you're usually looking at maybe mostly the sticking, but sometimes above the sticking for accents, then you see this. It's like, what? In my mind, half note means crossover. And it's just the easiest to look at, in my opinion. And, 2, what do you use for like an aux symbol you always hear in a high school show? So, I don't know what exactly you're talking about, but I will say that my favorite aux percussion symbol in the front ensemble would be not that. It would have to be this right here. sorry, not that, the Zilbell. It has to be my favorite aux instrument ever because it works. It sounds so nice with battery, and it just works out really well. Especially, like, I'll just play a chunk for you right now that just, it shines so nice in. So you'll hear it right here. So wait, okay, I just had to make sure you're on the right scene. Sorry. That, it just shines so nice, and it makes my heart happy. Let's just say that. It just works so nice with the battery, especially. And I don't know, it just sounds really nice. Let me know if that answered your question. If it didn't, I can answer it again. And also, if you know me, you know I love Spock shots, so I have to play this chunk for the Spock shots. I had to play it for the Spock shots. And also, oh, what instrument is it on? So in the VDL pack in MuseScore, it's on the rack. It's on rack B. Give me just a second to find it. It's on rack combo B. That's what it's on. Or if you can't use that, then you go to change instruments. Hold on, sorry. Well, you change an instrument, and then you go into the mixer, and then you go to that instrument, and then you can shift it to Ice Bell. It's in tab space under virtual percussion. It's it should be Ice Bell. Yeah, Ice Bell. And then you have to go into the staff I forget what it's called. The text, and then you go to staff text, and then it's the sound flags, and then it's large Zilbell. But I mostly like to use rack combo B with it because I don't know why. It's just that that Ice Bell just sounds really weird per se. Give me just a second. I can find it. Yeah, so right here, for example, if you have it set to the regular, which automobile brake drums is the Ice Bell. See, I have it in here because before it was just, you know, it was just that, the only option. So here's what it sounds like with the little Zilbell. Sorry. And then the big one, which you can press Control T for this or Command T. I do the large Zilbell up here, and then it sounds like how it's meant to sound like. But obviously, I don't know what's wrong with that sound, but there's something wrong with it. But they fixed it with the rack combo stuff. Like, I think it's because it changes every like 2 sounds. So you have that sound, or sorry, you have this sound, and then you have the more ringy Zilbell, and then you have the more sharp, articulate Zilbell, which I think that's why. We are all curious, but how can we order a custom showpiece for marching band? So the custom shows, you can reach out to me directly, and I can get together a team that we can work on it and discuss a price. But there will be shows that I have my own ideas for and that I come up with, or my team comes up with them, and then we will post them on Corbin Guckenberg, I think is his last name. Dang. Oh man, I was trying to memorize the website. Okay, well obviously I can't get to the website right now, which I'm probably spelling his name wrong. 98.9% I am. But hello. Yeah, it'll probably be from that website, and I can post it soon. If not, then it will be from... Let's see if I can memorize my website name. Yep, bingo. If I do it by myself, then it will be sold from here, which is the official wyXttBeats website. If you haven't seen it, then go see it. I want to... you know, get to the part where I can just sell shows. So this is my favorite thing about, you know, just writing percussion, because it's a playground. It is a creative playground or sandbox. I quote it as. Hi, Miss Lisa. But yeah, it's a creative playground or sandbox that I can do anything, basically. And it's so fun just to sit here and just write stuff. But let's get back to work. So I filled this back in with triplets. Got off task for a while. Dang. And can y'all also let me know in the chat if it's too loud for y'all on y'all's end? Hello, Blue Chips. Let me know if the audio is too loud. Man, I really wanted fourlets. Actually, no, I can just throw in. I can basically just throw this in. I haven't put this in yet. Which this is one of my favorite rhythms. If you've never seen it, it's dotted quarter notes, but with the downbeats visible. Which, that's also a really good point. If you're ever writing for marching percussion, what you should do is you should make the downbeats visible to any rhythm you make. Like if you have a 5-lit that obviously goes across like 5/3, I mean, obviously what else can you do but this? But and 4 is the same way. But if you see this, some horn arrangers would obviously write it like this. If they were writing marching percussion, they would write it like this. Which there is no physical problem with that, but if you're reading the show music, like if you're reading the music as a marching percussionist, and you see that, like, you're gonna think that that's a downbeat, is what you're gonna think. So just make it an 8th note, and you have that downbeat visible, so you know, da da So that's where the met lies. Da 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 So that's where the met lies, right there in that rest. And if we go here, you'll see I did the same thing right here. Some people would go like that. Some people would do that, but I said no. Leave the downbeat visible. It works out for every single circumstance that I've ever seen. And there's some instruments where it's not as, the rhythms aren't as dense, so you don't have to do that. But for all drumline, yes. Like for example here, you might see this written like this sometimes, which there's obviously, again, nothing wrong with that, but I would just rather see it like this. It's more pleasing to my eye, if that makes sense. What's up, J Money? But you'll see that as I go on, like, especially this rhythm, some people would write it like this. Which, again, nothing wrong with it. But it's just more pleasing to my eye. And obviously people who's reading it's eye. So it's the best thing to do. And adding flams actually add a lot of, you know, texture to your writing. Like, that works out perfectly for me. Because, honestly, right there's a big mallet run going on, and I don't want to ruin it. And there's nothing else happening except for loud horn stuff. So all this is dotted bass, so which means I can have a little bit of fun, because my favorite rhythms are dotted based, as you see. And especially in 3. I am locked in for Grind City Percussion. Hello, Chloe. I am very locked in for Grind City Percussion. Haven't practiced in a bit, but we're, you know, we're rocking. I'm trying to find, hold on. I need sticks and my pizza pad. Okay, it's right underneath my computer. How great. Yeah, I guess we could do that. Adding a bit of texture to your music never hurt anybody. Now you might be asking, like, why are the accents down? But the accents will only be down for a few minutes. I'm gonna fix that as soon as I put them above. This is also a really cool split to do. This is a really cool opportunity for a battery hocket. Or a split, which is cool. And see, here would be a better spot to put the 4-lits. And I know it's going to be 2 4-lit rolls automatically, so I'm just going to write it in and then copy it. Ooh, that scared me. Scared me to death. How do I do the concert B flat note on MuseHub? Do you mean MuseScore? Because MuseHub is the app that you can get stuff on. Like, it's probably got VDL on. There's a bunch of overpriced stuff on there. Like, I'll be honest. Right now, this is overpriced. Where is it? Right now, these are expensive. I got them when they were, like, see? I got them when they were $30, not $80. But this is, I mean, it's still great for its price. Like, usually virtual drumline is, like, give or take $200, which I got it for really good. Alright, so a concert B flat is, here, let me go to an actual instrument. If you're doing woodwinds, you'll first have to enable concert pitch, which is down here, which will get rid of all of your key signatures. Well, it shouldn't, but it'll get rid of all your flats and sharps, except if it's on the black notes on the keyboard, which you should have which I'm going to turn that off because we're dealing with marching stuff right now. You need to be able to see flats and sharps. But if you go to, so you have every good boy, that's B, and then, whoa, hold on. Okay, this is in bass clef, I think. Yep, told you. Anyways, again, concert pitch, and then you have to turn this on first, but I'm not going to do it for the trumpet because the trumpet is, the trumpet's in B flat, it's not in C, so it'll be weird. Make sure you're in treble clef though. But B flat should be right here on this line, and it should be down into a flat. Like, that is a B flat right there, but it's not a concert B flat. In reality, that's a B flat. I forget what note that really is. Oh, it shows me right here. Sounding as A flat 4. So that's an A flat. That's the C on the trumpet is really a B flat. So welcome to Music Theory 101 for today. Never thought I'd be learning how to write horn line, but I usually don't deal with transposed instruments. Transposed means that they are in they're just different notes. I usually don't deal with that because I write marimba, xylophone, glockenspiel. Those are all just C instruments. And here is where the horn line drops to piano. So I will do the same with the drum line because that is dynamic music. I'll do a forte piano, which is what the horn line does, but just with an extra 16th note, which it might sound weird, but just trust me. Like, da, 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 da. That's what they do there at the end. Which I also do something that not many people do. I use tenutos to my advantage. Tenutos are these little lines that you put just above the note, just like that. Now, there can be a different meaning for tenutos depending on where you use them, But in this context, I just want a slight accent. So piano is defined as 3 inches, which you can't really see that, but piano is defined as 3 inches, piano being the dynamic. The piano is defined as 3 inches. Now, if I want a tenuto at piano, I can go up to maybe 4 or 5 inches. If I want a tenuto at piano, go up to 4 inches. Accent at piano is 5. That's not 5, but again, same thing with mezzo forte or mezzo piano, mezzo forte, like stuff like that. But that's a topic for another day. But so theoretically, like, you can still hear those kicks and those accents. And also, I don't do capital letters for those either. Just because they're so little, you don't really hear them. And in reality, they really don't start crescendoing until here. Which, I will make that look better. And also, I let accents help me out with those crescendos. With these types of crescendos, like the eighth notes can be up just a little bit, and then the last 2 eighth notes can be almost all the way up, and then we get to that last quarter note and it's all the way up. Just to help the musicality grow, if that makes sense. So here's what that sounds like with the horn line. It won't have that full battery sound because we don't have the snare or the tenors and bass drums written in yet, but and I do think I want again, sometimes you decide you want stuff rewritten, and I wanted that to change because I don't like da-da-da, I like digga-digga-dum. Well, it's not to say that dun-da-dun is bad, it's just saying I need some more umph in those last notes, because it's the last notes of, like, the movement, basically. We need a good ending. That sounds better. Way better. Ooh, Matt Penland is also one of my favorites. He writes for Phantom Regiment, which, his writing is, honestly, in some ways, I think it does top Rennick's writing. I'm a huge fan of his writing. He makes those phantom drums, he just makes them speak. Like, I've never heard that, like, the first time I saw Phantom Regiment when he moved there, he actually came from Music City, which, fun fact, he wrote for Music City in 2022, which, I think his front ensemble writer's name is Chris, something like that, but he writes the battery and Chris writes the front ensemble. They moved from Music City Drum Corps to Phantom Regiment in 2023, and that was their first show at Phantom. And I really loved the Music City 2022 show. That percussion writing was great. And I like I also love the Phantom Regiment 2023 percussion writing. That was great. And 24 and 25. Like, that's also great. But what I do think is happening now is Matt Penland is starting to he's starting to merge Colin McNutt's old writing, like cadet style writing. He's starting to merge that with Paul Rennick's writing, which I really like what he's doing. But I also think McNutt is slowly slowly coming down, and he's actually going more towards the musical route, which I saw that in Boston's show this year. They weren't playing at their ears the whole time like they were in 22. Like, they had some musicality, but most of it was still chops. But, like, I do like where he's going. And I know why it's similar to Rennick's as well. It's because Rennick taught Penland, which obviously that would make sense. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of his writing. Ooh. Give me just a second. Let me see if this around works. This will be a common theme in my live streams. Sometimes I just don't know if an around works. Okay, I like that better. Sorry, nope, not that. Nope, not that either. I also like doing quad fill-ins. They're one of my favorite ever things to do. And I did make a mistake there. I didn't bring the battery down because the horns go down right there, but the battery doesn't. So I will make that change really fast, which it's not much. Easy to do. Which here's another reason why I just really love MuseScore. How easy it is to write. Like not a oh shoot. Not a hard change at all. Except I'm just gonna make that a regular note. And we'll also throw this down to tenuto. Anyways, what I was saying about the quad fill-in stuff, I love doing that because it sticks out in the battery so much. It makes my heart happy to hear quad fill-in stuff. I was watching, actually before this stream, I was watching, let's see if it's still in here. No, it's not, but I was literally watching, like, you'll see it in my Google Drive. I was studying this one part of Vanguard's show. It was, right here. This little Hocket stuff. And I was like, what in the world is that? Like, I was trying to figure it out. But it turns out, like, they just have different little shots. They have different shots on triplets. And then the quads continue shots into the ninelets stuff. Which is really freaking dope. It's really dope. Let me check my phone notifications. They've been blowing up. Excuse me. Okay. Just had to check my phone real fast. Hope y'all are enjoying the podcast so far. If y'all have any suggestions how I can make it better, definitely let me know. I'm trying to get used to talking while I'm writing. It's going to be a bit hard, but we can figure it out. Also, that's where I was going to do that quad fill in. Some composers think that, another thing I want to address, some composers think that copying the snare part over to the quad part is how to write quads, which it's not, because quads is very, very, very different from snares and bass drums, and bass drums are very different from snares and tenors. Like, snares, you have somewhat complicated rhythms with complicated rudiments on one drum. Quads, you have sometimes those same rudiments, maybe even harder ones, around the drums, which is kind of hard. Which is why some parts I let the snares stick out. Like here, I'm going to let them stick out with that 4-lit roll. And with that first da 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 da, I'll let them stick out there. And this is literally why you see me write my quad part separate from the snare drum part. You don't see me just, copy and paste. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do that because it's easier for time's sake, and like there's just no need for a separate quad part, but just around. And sorry, sticking gets really, really hard if I talk while I'm doing it. Also very, very unheard, or not unheard, but like, what's the word? Underrated. Quads coming in on the second 4-lit roll is nice. On drum 1. Okay, I'm telling myself to look at the chat, but I will finish this phrase first, and then I'll look at the chat. Finish this phrase meaning putting all the sticking and dynamics and everything on there. Oh man, I hate when I do that. Oh, I did it again. Are you kidding me? I put caps lock on for a reason. And I also do write my dynamics differently, because copying over dynamics can be a mess as well. So you might argue that my writing takes a bit longer than everybody else's, which I'm totally fine with, because I mean, it's for the better, right? I mean, the goal is to get people to be able to read my writing, and if I don't spend time on it, then how are they going to read it? So let's look at chat now. We are enjoying the podcast. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. Especially for the first episode starting it. I really do appreciate y'all watching. Really makes my heart happy. And you'll also see me make polyrhythms like this. Da 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 da. That's what that'll sound like. Which polyrhythms are really, really cool for, you know, showing off your skills. So like that chunk will sound like what I'll show you in just a second. When I put the dynamics on it. I knew I was forgetting something. So I'll start from back here. Okay, I need to stop listening to it. And like I said yesterday, if you didn't see my podcast yesterday, which most people weren't up for it, which I don't mind. I understand. Don't use unisons all the time. Which I will post a clip of that later. But don't use unisons all the time, especially with shots. Or just like boop, 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 like multiple on end. Utilize your splits while you have them. And sometimes I do end up writing sticking in for bass drums because I think it's more practical. Which right here, it definitely is, because how are you going to play that? I mean, honestly, you could play that if you want to, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, you know, it's better for the better, you know. Which actually, I'm going to alter this. Shoot, my fault. And do this as a 4-lit. And we're going to write 4-lit rolls on bass drums. You thought I was going to write all unison, didn't you? Tisk tisk. Whoever thought that? Which I will write unisons for both of these because the horns are going bum bum bum. I hope I'm remembering this part right. Bum bum bum. Yeah. Bum bum bum. Yep, exactly. Which it's always good to write sticking in for unisons so people know what they're doing. And it's always good to keep rolls to 1 and 2. Bass 1 and 2. Maybe 3 sometimes, but mostly 1 and 2. Which is what I do. which here I will do digga digga dong because I just want that full battery sound. If you don't know what I mean by full battery sound, it's when all three instruments are playing together in unison, and they have, like, especially when tenors are on drum 4 and bass drums are unison and snare drums are just playing, like, that's fun. That's the full battery sound that I love. And fun fact, I actually didn't use piano in the virtual drumline thing for a while, actually until now. Got 2 Instagram notifications. Let's see. All right. Ooh, before the next podcast, I need to put my, like, Instagram handle somewhere on here. Anyways, we finished the whole phrase, which is really fun. Somebody's FaceTiming me. Really glad it did not come through on my Mac. Alright, so let us hear this entire thing from the top then. I love major. I love major so much. Major stuff makes me happy. Even though that's what it's supposed to do. Here's that lovely Zilbel. Yeah, that is great. Honestly, give myself a pat on the back for that one. That, I mean, honestly, probably one of the best battery. Really fun to write. Now let's take a listen to that percussion score and let's see how it lines up. Really nice. Really nice. All right. So let's step away from Dreamscape for a minute. And let's actually go to Lamp Lock, because y'all have not seen Lamp Lock yet. Oops, technically I haven't revealed this on Facebook yet, but, you know. So, this is the opener to Lamp Lock, and I want to talk about it just a little bit. So, I wrote this show with my buddy Cooper, and we wrote this completely original, but with, you know, with music, obviously, with music selections, but some stuff in this show is original, which I'm extremely excited about. Really excited. Hopefully we'll get it released sometime soon. So, without further ado, I'll just let y'all listen to it. Disregard the synth sounds because those are the wrong synth sounds, and hopefully we'll get our right synth sounds when it's actually posted. Now, if we look into, you know, you see there's no piano, no piano, no piano. All mezzo piano because I didn't like, well, there's some piano moments like right here, you know, you don't really want to hear this. Like, maybe you might want to. Like, I don't want to hear this. Don't. Like, I don't want to hear that. Which you don't really hear it. So, I mean, it's not bad. Like, again, here's some piano moments. But then again, it's mostly just all mezzo piano. And it's because you can't really hear the piano. Like, listen. That first note. Like, you can barely even hear it. And even, like, with the whole ensemble, you can't really tell what's going on until that's when you can tell what's going on. Anyways. Yeah, so there's your chat about Lamp Lock Part 1. What I will say, though, is Lamp Lock will be coming out soon, but not soon enough. I'm just playing. We're working diligently on it, and we're getting it ready. And I'm gonna soon enough. I'm gonna make a. Hopefully, I'll make a logo for it and post a show reveal on the wyXttBeats page. We don't know if we're gonna sell this, and if we do sell it, I'll have to rewrite the battery parts, and he'll have to rewrite the horn parts for better. He'll have to rewrite the horn parts for an easier part, and if you know, you know. So, with that, I think I'm going to conclude the first episode of the Elevation Podcast. I hope you all enjoyed it very much, and if you did, please leave a like, and if you can, subscribe to the wyXttBeats YouTube channel for more Elevation podcast or just videos or just anything in general. If you do want to see anything else, let me know in the comments and I will definitely look at them. I will look at all the comments and I will take in all the advice that you've given me and everything else. So also be on the lookout on the Instagram page at wyXttBeats, at wyXttBeats, for new like clips of the podcast. And I want to start doing that. So, if you will, just go check that out. In a few days, I'll have them posted. And again, I thank you all for watching the Elevation podcast, hosted by the wyXttBeats. Again, I'm Wyatt Vermillion, founder of wyXttBeats, and I hope you all